asked her, "So what is your plan now?" She said that what I am about to tell you might shock you, but I know who is responsible for my death. Hello and welcome to part 2 of the story. If you haven't watched part 1, I'm going to drop a link where you can see to click to watch the part 1, and then you can come back to watch the part 2. Let's get right into the story. On the day he was to travel, he bade his parents goodbye and met Immaculate at the designated location, and they took off for her home in Obudu village. They walked a whole day and arrived at night. Ade said to Immaculate that, I only have a night to spend here before I head back. Can you tell me your plan now? She said by morning she will tell him her plans. For now, he should go to sleep, that tomorrow will be a very long day. She took him to a safe place for him to rest his head. He slept all through the night, and by morning she asked he visit her home first. She went as she directed him and saw a little boy there. And when he asked him how he was doing, he said fine. That who is he? He said he is a friend. He asked if his father is home. He replied saying, "Are you sure you are a friend? That my father is late. He died a while ago." He turned to Immaculate's direction, giving her a stern look. He asked about his mom. He said his mom is very sick. He inquired to see her. The little boy asked of his name, and he said his name is Ade. The little boy replied saying he's coming back. He went in, and Ade asked Immaculate why she did not mention that her father is late. She said she was scared to divulge too much information to him, so he won't be discouraged from coming. He replied saying, "I hope I won't lose my life trying to help you." She replied saying no, that he won't. As he was about to utter another word, the little boy came out and beckoned on him to enter their home. He went in and met her ailing mother on the floor. She asked him who he was. Ade looked towards Immaculate's direction. Immaculate asked him to tell his mom that he was a long-time friend who recently relocated to another town and came to look for Immaculate. He related the message to her, and she burst out some tears saying her sweet daughter died a while ago. He said, "I am really sorry for your loss. I had no idea." He asked her how they were coping, and she replied saying her husband's brother has been the one taking care of them all this while, and that he has really tried for them. Ade said he just wanted to come visit his dear friend, that he did not know that he will meet this bad news. He begged to take his leave and promised to come visiting again soon. He left, and he asked what was all that about. She said she hasn't been able to enter the house since she died, that she wanted to see her mom, and seeing her in that state makes her heart bleed. He asked her, "So what is your plan now?" She said that what I am about to tell you might shock you, but I know who is responsible for my death. He asked who? She replied saying, "You will find out in due time. That first, we have somewhere to go." He asked her why all the riddle. She replied saying, "There is no time. We have to go now." He said, "Okay, lead the way," and they left. They arrived at a compound, and on getting there, she took him to a shelter and asked him to pick up the shovel. After he picked it up, she went to a bush close to the house and asked him to dig. He gave out a heavy sign and started digging at the spot. As he was digging, he saw a dirty paper bag. He dug it out and opened the bag as instructed by her. There, he saw a blooded cloth. He turned to Immaculate and asked what this was. And she said, evidence. She asked him to quickly cover the shallow grave he just dug and let them leave quickly, as someone will be arriving soon. Ade, not wanting to ask her any further question, began to close the shallow grave and took the evidence bag and left. She asked him to go to the chief priest of their community and asked him to accompany him to Igwe's palace. He went to the native doctor as instructed and they proceeded to the palace with the items dug up. On getting to the Igwe's palace, Ade introduced himself and the king asked him what he was doing in his palace, given he was far away from home. He began to repeat to the king the words Immaculate was saying to him. He said that Mr. Amadi is responsible for the death of his brother Nnamdi and his daughter Immaculate, and he is the one responsible for making Nnamdi's wife sick. Mr. Amadi, who was there as a member of the Igwe's cabinet, got up in anger and said, "Young man, have you met me before? Who are you and why are you laying such accusations against me?" Ade replied, "I don't know you, sir, but I have met Immaculate and she is currently beside me." Mr. Amadi shouted, "You see? This young man is a madman. Igwe, will you sit there and listen to this young man?" The king retorted and said, "Ade, do you know in this town we do not take false accusations lightly, and its punishment is death by hanging?" He said he isn't aware that he just wants to help his friend Immaculate find rest. "Friend, you say?" Mr. Amadi shouted. "Where do you even know my niece from? How are we sure you're not partially insane or sent by someone who wants to rubbish me and bring me down? In fact, who sent you to soil my name, this boy?" Mr. Amadi was already boiling at this time. Immaculate asked Ade to bring out the bag of evidence and place it before the king. They asked him what was the content of the bag. He replied saying, "I dug this out from his backyard where he buried it." Mr. Amadi was obviously shaken by this time. The king ordered his guards to open the bag. As soon as they opened it, they found blooded clothes and a little girl's clothes. Upon looking at it closely, it was obvious that the male's clothing was Nnamdi's clothes, cause it was his favorite clothes which everyone knew him with. They asked him how he got the clothes. He repeated himself again to the king that he found it in the backyard of Mr. Amadi. The king asked Amadi, "Is that true?" He shouted, "Igwe, no! I have no idea what he is talking about." Immediately, the chief priest asked Mr. Amadi to confess, else he will be struck with madness. Mr. Amadi went on his knees before the king and said, "Igwe, please forgive me. I am sorry. I did not mean to kill my brother." Everyone shouted and began to spit at him in disgust. He said, "Igwe, I only wanted a portion of the land he has, as he already had a serious buyer willing to pay him a huge amount of money, and he was willing to share it with his brother. But his brother bluntly refused selling, saying he can't sell the only piece of property he has, and that besides he has a son, that out of anger he stabbed his brother in the chest. But what he did not know was that his daughter was with him in the farm at the time it happened, and so he had to kill her too to get rid of the evidence." The king asked how he came up with the lie that the assailant from the neighboring village attacked his brother and daughter in their farmland and took their clothes away. He said he did not want anything to be traced back to him, as there were recent killings in their village where people were killed and stripped naked of evidence. They all shouted in disgust. The king immediately declared that Mr. Amadi be sentenced to death by hanging. News of this confession soon reached Immaculate's mom. The woman cried her eyes out that so Amadi is this wicked that he will kill his only brother because of a piece of land, but now he too will join his brother. Oh, what a wicked world. The king thanked Ade for journeying so far to ensure justice is served and wished him a safe journey back home. Immaculate's mother thanked him, and Immaculate spoke to her mother through Ade, telling her that she loves her so much and that she should take care of herself and her brother, that she will miss her. She replied saying, I miss you, my dear daughter, that life hasn't been fair to her, that she can go and find rest now. Ade the next day set out on a journey back to his hometown. On getting back home, he met his parents, who immediately stopped him and queried him of his whereabouts. He then narrated all that happened to him. They asked him why didn't he tell them. He said because he was scared they would refuse him making that trip, and besides, he made a promise to help Immaculate, given that she helped him with his studies. They hugged him and said, we love you, son. We don't want anything to ever happen to you. He hugged them back saying, I love you too. That night, Immaculate visited Ade and said, I have come to thank you. I can see the light calling me. I just came to say goodbye. Ade replied saying, I wish I could hug you. Thank you for making me a better person. I promise to take my studies seriously. She smiled and said, I am so happy to hear that. She waved at him saying goodbye while she vanished from his presence. Ade went to bed with mixed emotion of sadness and relief, but with smiles on his face too, as he was happy he could do a remarkable thing for someone, and he knew the days to come would be brighter. The end. The lesson to be learned from this story is, never let envy or jealousy make you do things you will regret. Do not make someone feel less of themselves simply because they are not doing well. Always encourage people to be the best versions of themselves and not make them feel bad. As a teacher, know that every child is unique and find a unique way of making them understand what you teach. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please click on the subscribe button to support us. Turn on the post notification to get notified when I upload a new story. Like, share, and comment your thoughts. Till then, bye.